Hey, you know what is the day today? Yes, today is a very much of a special day for the gacha communities because in this daytime around, gacha communities are always go through against each other, especially their competitors, and say like that our gacha game has won and your game is going to be US very soon. Joke aside, you guys already get a grasp that what kind of video topic is going to be because the April month of a gacha revenue chart is finally been dropped by the sensor tower ship and it is actually looking spicy. Why am I saying this? Because the April month was the spicy one because in this month we were getting a two big gacha games celebrating their anniversary, which is the HSR celebrating the 3rd anniversary and also Buddha celebrating the 3rd anniversary. Aside from the anniversary event, there was a big release in April month, which was the NTE, or you can consider it as a Neverness to Avernus, which was the anime like GTA game, most hype gacha game in around the gacha space for a long time, and people were so much hype about it. And also it is like a modern urban fantasy gacha game, which is the first one that released in a global version. Now before talking anything further about this video, let me give you a brief description about this kind of gacha revenue chart. First of all, don't take this gacha revenue chart seriously because this kind of gacha revenue chart does not even hold any kind of like a credibility and also accountability by own itself. Why am I saying this? Because if you just think any of those particular gacha game with the revenue, that kind of revenue is not the exact number that they generate in a particular month. That revenue chart or that the number revenue is going to be the estimate number that the site has been providing to us each and every month. How they do that is totally getting the number from the Google Play Store and also iOS Play Store and totally multiply with a certain number and giving us a rough estimation the game is generating in a particular single month. So take it as a grain of salt, don't take it as seriously. Besides, in a recent days, gacha game is not only released for a mobile game version, they also released for other platforms such as the PC, Xbox console, Nintendo and other etc things. So each and every platform has their own revenue, and if your game is not even this chart, especially the mobile chart of a top 50, top 200, don't be sad because your game might be doing very good on the other platform. That's the main thing. How am I saying this? Because there was a game which make this kind of a statement, which was the name was the Snowbay Contaminate Zero. Currently it is like an indefinite of a hiatus and we don't even know when the maintenance and also hiatus going to be the left out from this game. So this kind of games was kind of like a clarified to their player base is that yes, we might not even be doing better in a mobile version because the game was not even top 100 or top 200. Mobile version was a disaster into this game. But when it comes to the PC game, the developer already clarified to us that they were doing a very much of a good amount of sustainable income, which is actually very much of a high and also very much of a relief to the player base. So if you are one of those players who think that your game is not even doing good, don't be worried, your game is actually doing good on the other platforms, because that other platforms revenue chart you cannot even get the access. That kind of things only be accessed by the investor who really invest the games, and also that kind of revenue chart is only going to be very much of a top secret toward the particular company of that game. Anyway, let's start the video. In this video I'm going to cover only 50 of this list. There are some like a 100 or 200 list into this revenue chart. I'm not going to talk about any of this because I'm not like one of those like a gacha god types of player who play 13 or 14 15 games at the same time. I play like at least 5 or 6 games, but that's the thing. But there are some other gacha game I'm not even playing, but I do have some kind of like idea that what kind of game it is and also what kind of event there has been going on and what is actually the game is all about. Anyway, let's start with our 50 list, which is the Shadowverse World Beyond. Man, this is like a card types of game, card gacha game, and that game when the game was released, which is Cygames, same company from the Umamusume, one of those like a top tier company, and when they just released, which is a sequel version of the Shadow World Beyonds, and it is actually pretty much of a disaster at launch because the way the controversy was happening of a power creep, and also if you don't even have this character on that character, you cannot even do a good battle deck system, and also you are going to lose 100% all the time. That was the controversy, and also the monetization was so bad, the required amount of money is actually high, so the predatory was on top of the chart. People are not even happy of that, and Shadowverse World Beyond was facing so many backlash. But after facing so many backlash, the game was still doing good. On the first month of release, the game was doing like a worth around $20 million, which is actually high. But after some time later, as you can see, that release of a, how should I put it, it is 7 or 6 months later, the game actually having the effect of a backlash what it was happening in a release of this game. I guess it is not even that of a good one, because as you can see that on the previous month, which they income around, we generate around like a 3 million, but right now they generate around like a 2.7 million, which is not that much of a drastic change, but it is actually very much of a noticeable change for a big company like them or big franchise like these types of game. For our next list, which is going to be the Blue Archive. Damn, and Blue Archive is one of those like a chibi game, but when that game released in a global version, people were thought this game is going to be the die after like a 1 years later, but the game is totally come back from the graveyard and it is actually doing pretty much strong. But if you seeing that the revenue is almost like a 10% lower from the previous month, is because not a special event is going on there, especially not even like a summer event, or people are actually saving their pools for the upcoming summer event because currently it's going on a summer. So the revenue is not even that of a high one. You can consider it like a bait banner is currently going on. You don't even have to worry, because when the perfect or like a hype banner is happening to be there in a Blue Archive, the Blue Archive not be in a 47 list, so it is at least going to be top 50 or like a top 20 list. Anyway, let's move on to Pokemon Master EX. Damn, I really want to play this game, but the game was not even of my cup of tea, and that game has so many versions, especially C version, and also some like a Korean version, Chinese version, so many other extra versions. So in that version, some other version already got their EOS few months ago. I already heard news from the Gacha Gaming Reddit that they are shutting their game because the other region are not even doing very well. So for a cost cutting, I guess they are totally shut downing their game back and forth. Anyway, for the 45 place, which is the Disorder, Duel and also Final Fantasy, I already played this game for a few minutes or like a few hours, but did not even really pick any kind of interest. Final Fantasy have already so many enormous amount of gacha games on their list, so I guess you can even just consider it's one of those like another extra gacha game, which is going to be run 1 or 4 or 5 years later, cash grab game, and after some time later this game is going to be US anyway. For our number 42 list, gay game, not going to talk about it. 41 list, which is going to be the 70. This is Grand Cross. Damn, it is one of those IP which is very much popular when it was released the first season in around 2012 or 2014, but I guess after some time later the hype was gone because the story is not even keep up to the other modern shonen series. But the game itself is actually pretty much of interesting to see that, because it is actually a good tournament game. The power keep was there, people were so much hype about it, and it is not even that of a strong IP that should be goes around 5 or 6 years, but it is actually pretty holding pretty much a strong position. As you can see, there are 2 million generating each and every month for a that not many of a big IP, but it is what it is. You have to believe it. Anyway, they are already having a collab with the ReZero, which is also a very much of a popular one of those like a top tier isekai anime. Even to myself, I would like to say that this isekai anime is better than the Mushoku Tensei, which is a jobless reincarnation. This is a hot topic for me. If you totally bash me around this, I'm ready for it. Anyway, that's why they are just totally generating almost a good amount of, which is almost like a 10 to 12% from their previous month, and it is good for them. Another number 40 list, which is going to be the GFL2, Girls Frontline Exilem 2. I have no idea what kind of events is actually going on there which make them lose their almost like a 10% from their previous month. Not actually 10%, it is actually pretty much of a good amount of money, not even that of a money that they were losing from their previous month. But I already totally lost interest because they were releasing one of those like a broken character in their previous patches, which I really wanted to get that character, but lost a 50-50 and didn't even have any enough pools to get that character and make it guaranteed. So I just totally quit this game right away. Anyway, let's move on to our 38 list, which is Azure Land. This is one of those games which released in backend and is still going pretty much strong. Gameplay is not even the strong point of this game, but the main strong point is going to be the gooning skin. Yes, the amount of skin or the amount of revealing skin they just released, it is actually pretty much of a close to, you know what I'm trying to say here. So I'm not going to mention it because it is going to be very much of a go against the YouTube policy. Anyway, let's move on to our number 37 list, which is a Mongrel Star Drive. I really wanted to play this game. This game is very much of a similar to Zenitsu Zero types of style, semi-open world, and also some things like a congested or certain areas of a combat fight. Also, you can consider it as a similar to PGRs. They were doing as an initial phase $4 million. Damn man, this is a Netmarble game. Don't even have your put money faith in these types of company. They are the most predatory company. They don't even have a good monetization system. But the gacha players of these games who are telling so many kind of like a good aspect of this game, and it is not like one of those net marvel games. I hope that it will keep continue what they are trying to deliver on their first release. For the next list on our game, which is a trickle revive, it is just totally lost very much of a small amount of from their previous month, not even that of a drastic changes. They were having their half anniversary, was it? Yes, it is was half anniversary, and some kind of like a new units was here and there, and people are actually trying to play in this game. It is actually one of those games which is similar to Nikke, but more cute. Nikke is one of those like a more gooning games. So if you really like cute and also is fluffy games, I guess this game is going to be the very much of a good one. And the PT system and also other system is totally similar to Nikke. So if you already played Nikke, it is going to be very much easy for you to understand it. One Piece, Bounty Rush, the enemy IP gacha game. They didn't even run any of those like a popular character, so that's why the revenue is lower, which is almost like 50% lower from the previous month. And when the game is going to be released, any of this like a Shanks popular character on the top of the chart of a One Piece, you cannot even see the One Piece in a 32 list. It is going to be around like a top 10 list in that month. Okay, 31 list reverse 1999. I really hate this game. I hope that this game is just US very soon. Anyway, number 30 list is Assemble Sisters, no idea. Number 28, sheesh, Cookie Run Kingdom. Damn man, they just totally increasing their sale from the 10% from their previous month. Well, it is actually tend to happen because they were collaborating with their what's the name again, kind of like a K-pop, which made Sony animations, kind of like a movie, Dragon K-pop. I just totally don't understand. Sorry, it was like a Demon Hunter. Yes, my bad. Demon Hunter types of things, and those characters totally releasing in this Cookie Run Kingdom, just like the Cookie Run Kingdom back in 2021 when they just collaborating with the BTS. If you're really one of those like a Demon Hunter fan, really love their song, really love the movie, I guess you should even hop into the Cookie Run Kingdom and totally get the character, and that's why their revenue chart is totally high from the previous month. Okay, from the 7 deadly sins, Origins. Damn, they just totally increased their revenue from the previous month, which is warp up to 30%. And it is no brainer that they were releasing their most fan favorite character, which is the Escanor, very quickly. And I'm very amazed that if they release the Escanor very quickly, what will be the trump card they already have into their bucket, because the game was not even having a good time in that their first release, and when the after honeymoon phases, people are not even finding any of those pools. And for the grabbing the attention of a players, I guess they need to take a risk and also release the most hype character. Of course, this is the anime IP gacha games. Most of the character have the different types of ultimate versions. So Escanor, the Escanor they are providing in here is going to be the base version of Escanor. They are going to be another like a various thousand of Escanor they are going to see in upcoming recent years. Okay, the other games which is going to be in our list next is going to be the Neverness to Awareness, for a urban fantasy and also first anime like GTA gacha game. They are starting their journey with a $6 million on their initial release. I'm not saying it is a bad one, because the time they release, which is at 29 April month 2026, it is totally a 1 day of a revenue. If they take like a 15 days or 12 days, it could be like going to have a good impression that how much of a revenue they are going to generate. But if they generate within a 1 day 6 million, I guess it would go up to 30 to 40 millions if the game's doing is right. Okay, now in our next list, which is going to be the Dragon Ball Legends. Damn, it is also very much lower from their previous month, which is almost 10 to 12 or 13%. I hope that this game is dies, because this game is one of the toxic PvP gacha games. If you really want to play this kind of like a highly predatory PvP gacha game, I guess Dragon Ball Z Legends is your friend. Anyway, let's move on to our next list, which is going to be the Zenless Zero. Zenless Zero is totally lost 50% from their previous month. Man, it is like a very much of a lost project for the Hover's games, because Hover's have their own types of popular gacha game. Especially if I just give you an example, the Genshin Impact, which is totally giving the other gacha game as a mainstream side, and also people are known the gacha game aside from not being a nerd. But Zenless Zero as the third title into their list is not even doing what the other big brothers are doing, which is HSR and also Genshin Impact. I hope the next anniversary, which is coming with another White Hunter level life types of character, is going to be the very much of a back cover of the revenue that they are losing right now. I hope that it is going to be the good one. For the number 16 list, which is going to be the Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. Oh man, this game is still 11, almost like a 10 and a half years old. Is still going strong. It is like a Dragon Ball Z franchise, man. People are not going to forget this series that easily. Okay, for the Summoners Wars, old game is still going strong. Not going to talk about it. Umamusume PT Derby. What? Damn, man. That much of a difference from the previous month. Of course, there is not even a very much of a high event is going on which really need to be hot topic in a gacha space, so it was tend to happen. Well, when they were released in a JP on their first release into this game, there was so many times that the game was not even like a top 10 list. It was like around top 50 or top 30 because there were no kind of like a special event was going on. I guess it is the phase that global is also facing, and also it is a combine. Not to mention it is a combine which is considered as a KR, JP and also global. Damn man. They must have been hitting very much of a hard time into this current timeline. Okay, for our number 13 list, which is going to be the Freight Grand Order, the game history has been done. Of course, they are going to release another 1,000 variation of a saber to suck the money out of the player base of the Fate franchise. Not gonna talk about it anymore. Okay, for our next list, which is going to be the the ring waves. Not gonna lie, the revenue that you are showing it is mostly basically almost 90 to 95% is going to be credited towards our second anniversary character, which is none other than the Hyuki, who is the Ice and Glacier Queen. And I already make a video about it, how much of a powerful she is. So if you haven't even checked it out, you can even check it out going through my channel. But the thing is that the amount of money that you are seeing, which is 13 million, it would not be that amount of, it would be like a double amount of it, which is around like a 30 million if I just give you an estimated number on my case. Why am I saying this? Because Hyuki is the most awaited character in Udaruga since the leak of her character in almost 1 month ago. People were so much hype about it and also saving that characters, but the remaining 5% which is covered by the Linai, also a very much of a powerful support character, sub-DPS character, which is games in a version of 3.0 on a Laharohi region. So people are really want to pick for that character. If you just somehow have that character, your Udaruga's team building will also be good and you are going to have a good time in a endgame mode. That's not the main thing. The main thing is that the revenue that it is showing, it is going to be based around the at least of a one day, which is the 30 April 2026. After that, it is a month of a 30 April, and also after that day, which is going to be the May 1st. That's the revenue of a whole other ringgit. Of course, in a April month, which is a May month, revenue is going to be very much of a higher than that you are seeing right now. It is going to be the double or quadruple, so you have to wait for that. Anyway, for our number 10 list, which is going to be the Arknight Enfield, man, I really hope to play this game very much. I thought that this was like a cool, unique games, but I'm totally devoted myself into echo chamber of a Genshin games. So whenever any certain games which is a Genshin alike games, I guess that game is going to be the very much of sweeter for me, rather than just wasting my time on a factory mode which does not even have any kind of candle, and I have to do these kind of things each and every region. You have to mind on that part. Anyway, Monster Strike, no idea. Goddess of Nikkei, ooh damn, 21 million. Of course, they are having the 3.5 anniversary or 3.5 anniversary, and that 3.5 anniversary also bring with a anniversary character, which is a star. What's her name again? Yeah, Star Anis, most fan favorite character in a Nikkei communities, and also another win going to be the Neon. Those two characters are going to be over spec and also similar level power of a Pilgrim. If you already played from the Nikkei, you already know that how much of a powerful that Pilgrim character holds. They are the lore wise accurate, most godly power, and also they are as a practical gameplay wise, they are the also strongest character that the game has ever produced too. So anyway, let's move on to the next list, which is going to Arknight. Arknight is also increased almost to their 60 to 70% from the previous month. Oh my god, man, what kind of things are actually happening there? I really want to play the Arknights for a long time, because yes, it is not like a very much of a complex compared to the Arknight Enfield, but there are so many other things that the Arknights actually very much of a complex, especially if you are in a harder stage. You have to use a strategy, and you can even just clear the endgame mode with your like a 3-star and also with an FTV teammate that the game is providing to you. So that's how much of a FTV friendly Arknights game, and most of the old gacha gamers who already playing this kind of like a gacha game for 10 years or 12 years more than me, I guess they are suggesting Arceus is the most friendly gacha game that the gacha space have ever seen. Anyway, in our next list, Pokemon Decision, no idea. Naruto Mobile, oh my god, man, Naruto Mobile is actually slaying. I have no idea why they are not even releasing this game on a global version, because Naruto is not only a CN sensation, it is a totally global sensation, just like the Dragon Ball Z and also One Piece. So you have to remember that if they just release in a global, I guess there is no other game, especially the Hoyoverse and also Wuthering cannot even beat this Naruto Mobile. Okay, for our next fourth number list is going to be the SD Gundam G Generation Eternal. What is actually happening there? I guess yes, as you can see that first anniversary is actually happening there. I guess it is actually the first time that I should even just totally re-back into this game. I really like that game when the game was launched in a previous years, but didn't even have the peak interest after playing 1 or 2 months. Totally dropped that game. I guess it is really much of a good time to get or invested into this game, because as you can see that they are going to release anniversary character, and anniversary character tend to be the most powerful character that the game has ever released into their version. Okay, number 3 is Love in Divi Space Gay Game, not going to talk about it. Number 2 in list is going to be the Genshin Impact. They just increased 1 million or from their previous month. Of course, their previous month was a consist of what kind of character was it? Yes, Lini. Yes, one of those like a top tier geo character from the version of a Nordcry, and Genshin is a very much of a penetrated game right now. If you don't even have a regional character, then you cannot even clear the respective end game, because the respective end game is totally counterpart of the regional characters element, and also the reaction, which is a lunar reaction, and that reaction is can be applied if you do have that characters on your roster, and also do have that of a regional character. Otherwise you are going to be very much of a face a backlash when you are going to do the end game mode, and you cannot even do that. Anyway, from a day one player from the Genshin Impact, I'm also experiencing this kind of issue. Okay, for the number 1 list, of course it was tend to happen, but the amount of revenue they just generate 58 million, it is actually kind of low. If I just give you an example, because when their first anniversary release of a Castoris, they were generating almost 100 million, and that character was a global passive sensation. Most of the people were quitting and they were thinking that HSR is already done, but why this is only 58 million? That's the main thing. It wasn't Silver of level 1999 didn't create the hype between the communities, or you can say the bring back the old players and also new players, whatever, but the game is actually number 1 and also generating or printing the money back and forth. Anyway, this month of revenue. Anyway, that's all for this video, and this was the month of April gacha revenue chart. If you have any kind of question regarding this kind of gacha revenue chart, feel free to let me into the comment section, and also if you have any kind of comments regarding to my opinion any of those games that I mentioned right now, also feel free to leave it under the comment section, and see you on the next video. Peace.